The familiar sound of my father's disapproval echoed through our family's sprawling Boston home, competing with the steady beep of my laboratory equipment in the converted basement. "Another missed family dinner," he announced from the stairs, his voice carrying the weight of medical dynasty disappointment. "While your brother just made chief of surgery at Massachusetts General." I adjusted my microscope, carefully observing the cellular reaction that could revolutionize cancer treatment, if my family ever bothered to understand what I was actually doing. "Did you hear me, Alexandra?" Dad continued, his Harvard Medical School department chair authority carrying no weight in my private lab. "Michael's following the family tradition. While you're down here, playing with petri dishes." I recorded another promising result, adding to years of research they'd dismissed as worthless. The cellular response is exactly as predicted. The targeted therapy could reduce mortality rates by. "Enough with the research talk," he cut in. "When are you going to practice real medicine? Your brother's already saving lives." I bit back a response about how many lives my work could save if successful. The same explanation I'd given countless times at family gatherings, while they praised Michael's traditional medical career. "The Whitman Medical Group called again," Dad pressed. "They're holding a position for you. Private practice just like your brother. Just like me." The monitors behind me displayed complex molecular data, evidence of a breakthrough that could transform cancer treatment. But they couldn't see past their narrow view of what real medicine looked like. "I'm close to something important," I said quietly, making another careful adjustment. "The cellular regeneration patterns." "Important." Michael's voice joined from the stairs, his surgical scrubs still pristine after another day of real doctor work. "Like treating actual patients? Having a real medical career." I turned to face my golden child brother, his prestigious medical degree practically gleaming in his pocket. "My research could help thousands of patients. If you just look at the data." "Data doesn't hold someone's hand through chemotherapy," he countered. "It doesn't perform life-saving surgery. It doesn't." "It might make that chemotherapy obsolete," I interrupted, pulling up my latest results. "These cellular responses suggest." Dad waved dismissively. "Your mother's worried about you, Alexandra. All this time alone in the lab, missing family events. The Whitman position." "I'm not interested in private practice," I stated firmly. "My research is showing incredible promise. The targeted therapy approach could revolutionize how we treat." "Revolution?" Michael scoffed. "While I'm actually saving lives upstairs at Mass General. While Dad's clinic treats real patients." I turned back to my work, their disappointment heavy in the air. 10 years of research, countless breakthroughs, and they still couldn't see past their traditional view of medicine. "The Anderson Foundation called," Dad added. "Their annual medical excellence dinner is next month. Michael's receiving an award for surgical innovation." Of course he was. Another accolade for the son who followed the proper medical path. "I'll be presenting my research at an international conference that week," I replied, though they'd stopped listening. "The preliminary results are." "More conferences?" Michael interrupted. "While real doctors are treating real patients." I checked my phone. Another message from the Nobel Committee requesting clarification on certain aspects of my submission. Not that my family would understand the significance. "Just think about the Whitman position," Dad insisted. "A real medical career instead of." He gestured vaguely at my sophisticated laboratory setup. "Whatever this is." They left me to my wasteful research, climbing the stairs back to their world of traditional medicine. Neither noticed the encrypted email from Stockholm still glowing on my screen. The laboratory hummed with potential, each machine and monitor recording data that would soon shock the medical world. And my family. Dr. Alexandra Chin, my automated lab system announced, cellular response in trial group C showing significant. I smiled, remembering Michael's mockery of my robot lab assistant. The same automated systems that had helped document my breakthrough. The Nobel Committee's preliminary questions required careful answers. Not that I could tell my family about the confidential nomination process. They'd probably dismiss that as wasteful too. Upstairs, I could hear them discussing Michael's latest surgical achievement over dinner. The same dinner I was wasting by conducting potentially world-changing research. My phone buzzed again. The Nobel Committee needed additional documentation. The same research my family had mocked as playing in the lab was now being evaluated by the world's most prestigious scientific organization. Sometimes the best validation comes from those who actually understand your work, not those who share your name. The laboratory continued its vital data collection while my family celebrated another traditional medical success story. Soon they would understand that real medical innovation doesn't always wear surgical scrubs or see patients in a private clinic. Sometimes it works alone in a basement lab, ignored by those who should support it most, until the day the world recognizes what family couldn't see. The Nobel Committee's message glowed in the darkness. Final verification required for December announcement. 3 months later, I sat in my laboratory reviewing the final confirmation from Stockholm. The Nobel Committee had finished their extensive verification process. My breakthrough in targeted cancer therapy was about to be announced to the world. The TV upstairs blared with news of Michael's latest surgical achievement, a complex procedure that saved one life. My research would soon save millions. Alexandra. Mom called down. The family's gathering to watch Michael's interview on Channel 5. They're calling him a medical pioneer. I glanced at the embargoed press release from the Nobel Committee, scheduled for release in exactly 24 hours. The term pioneer was about to take on a whole new meaning. Working late again? Michael appeared at my lab door, still in his surgical scrubs. The Whitman Group asked about you at the Medical Association dinner. Still holding that position? I'm quite busy, I replied, minimizing the congratulatory emails from Stockholm. The final trial results are being compiled. He leaned against my equipment, carelessly disturbing carefully calibrated instruments. Trial results won't pay the bills like private practice. Dad's worried you're wasting your potential down here. My phone buzzed. Another message from the Nobel Committee about tomorrow's press conference. The same announcement that would transform medical science and shock my surgery-obsessed family. Did you see my interview preview? Michael continued, straightening his pristine white coat. They're calling my surgical technique revolutionary. I bit back a smile, thinking of how truly revolutionary my work was about to prove. That's wonderful, Michael. Saving one patient at a time is important work. One patient. He bristled. I've performed this surgery on dozens of cases. That's real impact, not theoretical research. The screens behind me displayed data from international trials, thousands of cases showing unprecedented success rates. But he was too busy admiring his reflection to notice. The family's waiting, he headed for the stairs. But I suppose you're too busy with your important research to celebrate real medical achievements. I turned back to my work, knowing tomorrow would redefine their understanding of medical achievement. The Nobel Committee had already prepared my introduction as the youngest medicine laureate in history. Upstairs, the TV anchor praised Michael's groundbreaking surgery. In 24 hours, they'd be using much bigger words to describe my work. My phone lit up with another encrypted message. Final press conference details confirmed. Stockholm ceremony arrangements proceeding. The basement lab hummed with validation while my family celebrated another traditional success story. They had no idea their wasteful daughter was about to make medical history. And here's Dr. Michael Chen, the TV announced, pioneering surgeon changing lives. I smiled, making final preparations for tomorrow's announcement. Sometimes the best response to family criticism is global recognition. The Nobel Committee's message glowed with promise. Prepare for worldwide announcement at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My research would soon speak for itself, louder than any surgical accolade or family disappointment ever could. The next morning I arrived early at my lab, knowing the announcement was minutes away. Upstairs, my family gathered for their usual breakfast, unaware their world was about to shift dramatically. More missed family time, Dad commented as I passed the dining room. While your brother's surgical schedule is already full of grateful patients. I checked my watch, 8:57 a.m. You might want to turn on the news. The news. Mom looked up. But Michael's interview already aired. Trust me, I said quietly, heading to my lab. You'll want to see this. At exactly 9 a.m., the TV anchor's voice shifted to breaking news. In a stunning announcement from Stockholm, the Nobel Committee has named Dr. Alexandra Chen as this year's recipient of the Nobel Prize in Medicine. The crash of Michael's coffee cup hitting the floor echoed through the house. Her groundbreaking research in targeted cancer therapy, the anchor continued, represents the most significant advancement in cancer treatment this century. I pulled up the live feed on my lab monitors, watching as my years of wasteful research were proclaimed as revolutionary by the world's leading medical authorities. The youngest Nobel laureate in medicine, the announcement continued, Dr. Chen's work promises to transform cancer treatment globally. Heavy footsteps thundered down the lab stairs. My family burst in, faces pale with shock. Alexandra, Dad stammered, staring at the Nobel Committee's official announcement filling my screens. What? How? That research you called wasteful? I gestured to my lab. It just won the Nobel Prize. Michael clutched his surgical degree like a shield. But, you don't even see patients. No, I agreed, watching the global medical community celebrate my breakthrough. I just developed a treatment that will help millions of them. The news coverage expanded. Medical experts praising my innovation, cancer specialists hailing it as revolutionary, and pharmaceutical companies scrambling to implement my protocols. The Whitman position. Dad began weakly. We'll have to wait, I smiled. I'm rather busy with Nobel laureate duties. Plus, several international research institutes are requesting my leadership. Mom sank into a lab chair, watching as her underachieving daughter was proclaimed a medical genius on every major network. Why didn't you tell us? Elena whispered. Would you have believed me? I asked, displaying the years of research they'd dismissed. Or would you have called it more wasted time in the lab? The Nobel Committee's official statement filled the screens. Dr. Alexandra Chen's revolutionary approach to cancer treatment represents a paradigm shift in medical science. Sometimes the best revenge isn't in proving family wrong. It's in letting the whole world prove you right. The laboratory hummed with vindication while my family struggled to reconcile their wasteful daughter with the Nobel laureate before them. The Stockholm ceremony, I checked my calendar, is next month. You're welcome to attend, though you'll have to sit in the general section. The front rows are reserved for people who actually supported medical innovation. Michael's surgical accolades suddenly seemed very small compared to the Nobel Prize in Medicine. The news continued to spread, each announcement a reminder of how wrong they'd been. Their real doctor definitions crumbled in the face of global recognition. Sometimes the greatest success isn't meeting family expectations. It's exceeding them so much they can't doubt you again. The lab they mocked now proved real medical innovation. Their old ideas of success were crushed by research they never understood. 6 months after the Nobel, I stood on stage in Stockholm. My family watched as their lab rat daughter received the world's highest scientific honor. Dr. Chen's work will save millions and change medicine forever, the chairman announced. Michael fidgeted with his surgical cap. His technique seemed small compared to my global impact. The ceremony detailed my research, the same work my family called wasteful. Every achievement highlighted their misjudgment. I approached the podium, Nobel medal gleaming. Scientists leaned in. My family sat stiffly. Medical innovation, I said, doesn't always wear a white coat. Sometimes it happens alone in a basement lab. The screens showed years of my work. Mocked then, now celebrated worldwide. At the Nobel banquet, world leaders and top scientists sought my insight. My family watched, overwhelmed. Cambridge and Harvard offer full labs, unlimited funding, total freedom, my agent reported. Dad's chair position seemed small. The UN Medical Council requests your presence, an advisor added. Victory wasn't proving them wrong. It was doing something so huge they could never see me the same way again. Later, in my Stockholm suite, I reviewed pharmaceutical proposals worth more than Dad's entire practice. Morning schedule. Breakfast with the Prime Minister, Royal Academy, Global Summit, my chief of staff said. Time magazine called me the future of medicine. I smiled. Their wasteful daughter was redefining medicine. Next morning at the Royal Academy, my family struggled to follow my work. The research they mocked was now taught worldwide. Dr. Chen's methods will be required study for all medical students, the president announced. Cancer survival rates improved 60%. Full use could save millions. My family sat silently. Their isolated daughter commanded international respect. We've never seen results like this, a laureate said. Dr. Chen's work is paradigm shifting. The day ended with more accolades and offers. Who invited me to lead international research? Dad's private practice looked tiny. As my family left, more trial results arrived. More lives saved by work they dismissed. Alexandra, we never realized, Dad said. That's the point, I replied. You never looked past your narrow view. The Nobel gleamed on my desk. A reminder that the best innovation can happen far from hospital rounds. Staff announced, your car is ready. Royal Academy dinner awaits. I left my family to process how wrong they were. Their traditional success felt small next to my global impact. The greatest victory isn't proving others wrong. It's achieving something so right their approval no longer matters. Evening news would show breakthroughs and lives saved. My family would watch from their small world, finally understanding that their basement-dwelling daughter had surpassed them all. The Nobel was just the start. The real triumph was transforming medicine itself. The future of medicine had arrived, from the basement lab they once mocked.